Talk to Lauren, Colby, and Jesse about all of these news stories. First, that video coming out of Russia's Dagestan region. I mean, literally, rioters on the hunt for Jews. Lauren, I was looking at how the media would report this. And it appears that a lot of outlets, instead of saying pro-Palestinian supporters, as we've heard time and time again, they actually use the term anti-Israel rioters.
Yes, and they're anti-Jewish rioters, which is really what it is. And this just underscores for Jewish people everywhere the sense that they don't feel safe no matter what country they're in, no matter what facility they're at. And that extends to our colleges and universities right now. And we can't forget the broader context of this in Russia. There is an anti-Semitic thread that goes from Putin to the Kremlin throughout history, where when they justify their own aggression, including the invasion of Ukraine, they use anti-Semitic tropes and propaganda, including attacks on President Zelensky for being Jewish. And so, yes, you could say Russia is one of the scariest places for Jews right now, but frankly, there aren't many places we can think of where Jews are not at risk of these types of attacks and this type of behavior. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. The other, go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, if I could just jump in here, because, this is just now this wave of anti-Semitism that we're seeing in the wake of one of the worst horrific terrorist attack against Jewish people. And, it's something that the Jewish people today have not seen this and felt this kind of fear that Lauren was talking about since their grandparents and great-grandparents were in the Holocaust. That theme of never again is taking a different kind of meaning today than it's ever had. And one of the most disturbing aspects that I've seen over the past few weeks, this didn't come out of nowhere. This kind of deep-rooted hatred and animosity has always been there in all these people who are doing these demonstrations and these kinds of attacks. It's just they feel comfortable coming out now. So it's so important, I think, to not only classify this not as a protest, not as expressing your opinion, even if you disagree with it, that this is a crime and that you have to stop it. And this cannot be, it's never okay, but this has to be stopped. And I think that is very important for community leaders, religious leaders, government leaders to step in at these kinds of moments right after this to say this is unacceptable.
And to your point of, not having seen this in quite some time, but it has been seen before. I was watching this video this morning on the tarmac and in the hallways of this facility. I mean, if this is happening, there in Russia with this flight that originated from Tel Aviv, I mean, you have to imagine airports across the world and air traffic control personnel are, have a much more heightened radar right now than they have in such a long time. I mean, where is safe right now?
Not just airports, by the way. This video was terrifying. I mean, this was the closest thing we've seen to a pogrom that we learned about in the advance of World War II. And what we're seeing is this conflict, this sort of like deep-seated sort of ideological hate between two sides, largely by the Muslims here, was mostly in the Middle East, and now it's a global event, right? There was a news report today that schools in Paris had to be shut down 20 schools had to be shut down over anti-Semitic bomb threats. There were protests in Brooklyn, and there was the New York NYPD put out an alert that Jews should avoid Brooklyn. So this is Jesse and Lauren exactly right, but this is a global concern that I fear could spin wildly out of control, and not just in sort of Muslim-oriented Russia or the Middle East, but everywhere where Jews live. And there's never been a better argument for the right of Israel for a safe place for Jews to exist. It's really a very terrifying and scary time right now.
It is. And Jesse, I just want to touch on something that you brought up. In terms of the criminality, if this was any other group, I mean, people have been canceled for far less, have lost their jobs for things that they've either posted or said or been in the street in saying to a person and been classified as using hate speech. But during these kinds of demonstrations, this mob mentality where people are actually calling for the death of a certain group of people, which happens to be Jewish, why are certain institutions, especially colleges, not kicking students out, not taking a broader stance and saying we condemn this, and more than that, we're going to do something about it?
I think we all know it's a very liberal-minded ideology, but more than that, it's this idea of, look, in this country, you could have neo-Nazis marching down the street, and it would be their right to do so as long as they're not engaging in violence. And then one way, that's the beauty of the country, right? You're allowed to express your opinion, as repugnant and disgusting as it may be. But what you're seeing here is something that's crossing the line. When people do not feel safe because of what their coworkers or their classmates or their faculty or those on the street are doing, that's a problem.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.